What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how new or beginner wide receivers can stand out at practice or in a competition setting, okay? So we're going to be talking about 3 specific things that you guys can do. This video was done by request, fellas, so if you guys have any kind of video requests, any kind of content that you guys would like to see, we always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys because you guys keep this channel fueling and going, so I 100% appreciate it. So if you guys have any feedback, any videos you guys would like to see, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Let's get started. So first things first, when you are a beginner or a new wide receiver, sometimes there are going to be situations where that DB is in a good position to make a play, right? The DB is just in the right kind of leverage. Maybe he's just in the right spot. But as a wide receiver, how I can stand out to a coach, how I can kind of make a name for myself, climb up the depth chart, is I have to finish the play. So let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So this comes down as well, if maybe you're a more seasoned wide receiver and you're watching this, when it comes to recruiting aspects from a college coach, you being able to finish this play and make these catches that coaches do not expect you to make when the DB is in a good position to make the play, that's what will help you stand out on film, but also will help you stand out to a coach. Your mindset as a wide receiver needs to be, anytime that I'm given a ball and that ball hits my hands, I should never drop that ball. That should be the challenge, right? That should be the main focus. So when you guys are practicing, the number one thing, anytime you guys are having a catch, is you should be working on this specific situation right here. Your eyes are a camera and you are taking a picture of the football. The only thing in your line of vision should be that football. So when you get into a game live situation, a practice live situation where you can't necessarily think about that, it is automated and you do not drop that pass. So the number one thing for beginner wide receivers and newer wide receivers to stand out is you have to make sure you finish the play where that DB's in a good position to make a play or make those catches, I should say, that a coach does not expect you to make. Do not drop a pass. Because think about this route, for example, right? So DB's outside leverage and I have to run a corner. And we are on the goal line. So we don't have a lot of space to be able to restack. We don't have a ton of space to be able to sell vertical. We just have to get up into the route, right? And especially because man coverage, I got to do something fast. So Kyle Phillips does a great job of attacking him to the outside, freezing him to the outside, but he ultimately knows I have to restack in a short amount of space. I have to give him some kind of move at the outside to get him to hesitate, but all I need is just a step. If we could just get a step of separation, fellas, and that quarterback gives me a chance, I need to challenge myself every single time that ball is thrown in my direction to catch that ball to stand out. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Phillips finishing the play, even when that DB is in a great spot there. Great job making that catch and having that picture frame when that ball hits his hands. Okay, so now, second thing we're going to be talking about to help you stand out is how wide receivers can be faster and more explosive by doing this one simple thing off the line of scrimmage. But before we get into this, fellas, I want to talk to you guys about a great opportunity we are having this offseason. We are traveling out to 8 different cities across the United States for 2-day long quarterback and wide receiver training camps. So if you guys are local to one of the 8 cities listed right here on the screen, we are going to be coming out to Houston, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Los Angeles, California. So if you guys are local to one of those cities and would like to get some work in with myself, with my staff of wide receiver and QB coaches, check out that very first link in the description below. We will have DBs out to these camps as well to work on one-on-one situations, zone coverage situations, off-man situations, and half-line concepts. Now, also, fellas, spots to these camps are going to be limited to only 10 to 12 guys. So if you're that guy who's maybe not sure, I'm maybe not going to be, I don't know if I'm ready for this kind of thing. I don't know if I'm ready to go to camps. The groups are small, so we could actually coach you guys. So if you're there to develop and you want to get your skills better, that's what this camp is for. It's not a showcase. We're not ranking you guys like all these other people say. We're actually there to help your skills improve. So if you guys are local to one of these 8 cities, want to come out and get some great work in with us, check out that very first link in the description below. We would absolutely love to have you out to one of our off-season camps. Okay, so now, obviously what coaches like to see out of a wide receiver is speed, explosion. They like to see that quick twitch, right? So when you're coming off against a press coverage DB, coaches expect you to get off the ball, right? So maybe not in high school so much because you see a lot of zone coverage, but in college, dude, that press coverage is what's going to separate you, man, because you will maybe never ever see press coverage in high school like the way a college DB is going to play it. And that college DB who's disciplined, who's fast, who's big, who's strong, you need some extra tools to be able to stand out against that guy. But again, if you're in high school and you're maybe newer, beginner wide receiver, to stand out, you got to have these things as well, because a coach will be like, oh, damn, that guy can move. That guy looks like he knows what he's doing. So we're going to be talking about a prep step with the front foot. So what is a prep step? So let's watch the thing full speed. So watch how quick this wide receiver picks up his front foot and is explosive, right? Now, a lot of people call this a false step, but really it's a step for balance. It's a gather step, some people like to call it, but it's a step to give you that explosion, because what this receiver is doing is he's taking this like shuffle, slide release to the outside. Now, this DB is not going to commit to it unless we go fast, right? If I go fast to the outside, I have some quick twitch, that's what's going to get the DB to move, right? So a lot of receivers, a lot of beginner wide receivers, what they'll do is they'll just take this back leg and just shuffle to the outside. They will not move their front foot, and they'll just shuffle out there. There's no explosion. There's no threat of you actually running vertical. Everything that we have to do, you guys have probably heard me say this before, has to threaten a DB. I either need to threaten him to the inside fast, or I need to threaten him to the outside like I'm running a fade fast to get his hips to open up. So this prep step right here, where you take just a little step, it's almost like a backwards, it's almost like at a 45-degree angle. It's not quite backwards. It's not quite to the side. It's almost like a 45-degree angle back. If you could take that little step with the front foot, that gives you balance, and it allows you to push off of this step. When you can take that prep step and it's quick and you're pushing off of that step, that's what will shoot you outside the DB's frame. That's what will give you that explosion and that twitch off the line, which will force a reaction out of this DB. Like, let's say you're a young wide receiver and you're at practice and you're going up against a DB who's physical, a DB who's played the game for a long time. Something like this is what can force a reaction out of him. Just a weak move where you just shuffle to the outside slow, or you take all these slow steps off the line. That's not going to get him to bite. And especially if you're trying to play college and maybe you're a younger guy, you got to be able to showcase this kind of thing. You know what you're doing, and you could have that speed and explosion off the line to stand out to a college coach, because that is what they are looking for. They want fast and explosive guys. So to get that fast release, take that little prep step when you're against press coverage. Against zone, do not take that, because that's when it's a false step. Against zone, you just want to get off the ball, make sure you have a bend to that front knee and be able to drive off of there, rather than taking that prep step to get some explosion and to work a release. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job using that explosion, that twitch, get that DB to jump to the outside or maybe even guess on the route. Okay, so now, last but not least, if you're a young wide receiver or beginner wide receiver, you got to understand the principle of restacking a defender and what that can show a coach, because the coach's biggest pet peeve against press is probably spacing and timing. Right? So the thing that screws up a lot of guys when this DB gets down and gets physical, like I remember one time we did a coaching clinic back when I was a high school coach, and we did this thing at University of Oregon. They came down, they talked to us, and they said 70% of the time when a DB was able to get hands on a wide receiver, he won the route. So if they had 10 reps and the DB got hands, that means that 7 out of the 10 times the DB would win. That means the ball's incomplete, knocked down, picked off. Only 3 times we won. That's what you want to try. You want to try to up that number. You want to be that guy who I win 70% of the time when that DB tries to get hands on, because if he's going to lunge at me, try to get physical, I have a plan for it. So we have to understand the principle of restacking so this DB does not screw up spacing, right? So let's watch this full speed. So this DB lunges at him, right? Receiver does a great job of restacking over the top, fighting those hands so he could create separation on this deep post, right? So when we come off here, right? So when I come off here, a lot of wide receivers, what they'll do when this receiver, where this DB gets a jam, is they'll just take off to the inside right here. Now, in a real game situation, when you have other receivers out there, whether it's 7-on-7, whether it's 11-on-11, if you run that post and you start drifting to the inside, you are going to get in the way of the other receivers running their routes, and a defender could end up covering you and the other receiver. And that screws with the quarterback because they're trying to isolate specific defenders. So we have to be able to get back on my line right here, right? So that's exactly what this receiver does. Yeah, DB wants to jam, fine. But when he jams, he's off balance, right? You see how if we just swat those hands and could get those hands off, his hips lock out, he's flat-footed, and I could do what I need to do, which is restack on the route. As a beginner wide receiver, this will show your coach that you understand the play concepts, you understand how to actually run routes and be a quarterback-friendly wide receiver. Beginner guys will just take off and just go run, right? A coach does not want to see that. A coach wants to see you look polished if you're trying to stand out to him. So we have to make sure we do these specific details that will actually apply in a full 11-on-11 game. It's not 1-on-1, it's not 7-on-7. When it's 11-on-11, the pads are on, the lights are on. These are the things that you have to do to be able to stand out. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by 11 here. Getting the hands off, working to restack so that DB's on his back heel, so we give that quarterback space to lead me, and I could actually be at the right spot of the play that I need to be at. All right, guys, we want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Always appreciate the feedback. Like we said, if you guys have any video suggestions, don't hesitate to leave those below as well. And again, fellas, if you're local to Houston, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, Newark, New Jersey, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, or Los Angeles, California, or would like to travel out to one of any of those locations, check out that very first link below for our 2-day-long quarterback and wide receiver off-season camps. Again, spots are going to be limited, filling up fast. Our Houston, Texas camp and Phoenix, Arizona camp and Newark camp are pretty much almost completely sold out. So if you guys are local to there, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out. I'll see you guys next time.